Governor De-santis joins me now. Governor, the ruling was on Friday. Explain how this could affect other businesses beyond the cruise industry.
Well, Laura, as you remember, the CDC, quote, closed the cruise lines for 2 weeks in March of 2020. It was supposed to be a 2-week, figure out what's going on, and then get going. And that turned into an indefinite shutdown. And we were in a situation where this is an important part of our economy. We have a lot of people whose livelihoods depended on it. So we brought a lawsuit, and everyone, the experts said, oh, there you have no chance. And not only do we win, if you read the judge's opinion, I mean, it was a resounding victory. And it said you can't just assert legal authority without a firm basis in law to close an entire industry. And also the judge correctly criticized the CDC for not having really any evidence to support what they were doing or data. They rely on, quote, models. They don't even produce the evidence that underlies their models. So that is just not the way a constitutional system is supposed to operate. And so I think it was a very important decision for Florida and allowing our cruises to get going this summer. But I do think the next time one of these things comes down the pike, I think that a decision like this will be a roadblock to the some federal agency trying to do similar things in the future.
Now, one of the most notorious COVID doomers, Governor, is making more dire predictions, and it includes Florida. Watch.
Travel, and especially over the July 4th holiday, that could be a big issue. We saw that summer surge, and that was pretty awful, you know, in a belt that went all the way from Arizona through New Mexico, Texas, across the Gulf Coast into Florida. We just have to assume that Mother Nature is telling us this is going to happen again. That's
the infamous Dr. Peter Hotez, Governor. They just can't let the pandemic go. At some point, they're going to have to break the addiction.
Well, and it's like, you know, some of these people get put out there all the time when they've been dead wrong over the last year. For example, a lot of these experts criticized Florida for getting our kids back into school in August. They said, oh, this will be 2-3 weeks. Everyone's going to get sick. All the schools are going to have to shut down again. And that just never happened. I think the schools were probably one of the places that had the fewest amount of infections of anywhere else in our society. So you're wrong on these really, really big issues that impacted millions of people, and you're still out there parroting stuff. So, look, I think that at the end of the day, we're happy that we had the kids in school. We're happy that people have been able to work in Florida, and we're happy that our businesses have been open.
Now, Governor, I was so excited to read this today, and it dovetails from the previous segment we just did on this critical race theory in the schools in Virginia and the fight against that. Now, you signed legislation that requires kids in your public schools to be taught the evils of communism and totalitarianism. Now, this is just one of 3 bills I think you signed about education. Briefly explain why you did this and why now.
Well, I put in a civics requirement in 2019 for high schools. We're expanding that to include discussions of the evils of communism and totalitarianism. And then also we're creating a Patriot Museum, Patriot Library, where we have stories of Floridians who fled from communist regimes, from Cuba, from Nicaragua, from Venezuela, and beyond. And so this will show the effect that these bad policies had on people's freedoms and livelihoods and their families. Many of them in South Florida, for example, lost family members to communism. I think it's important that that we get this in the classroom and provide an honest assessment of what this totalitarian ideology has done for the last 100+ years.
I think it's good, Governor. It's not just saying you're against something, you're actually advocating for something, and it's a solution. Thank you.